Are you ready to completely change your life in just 6 months? This audiobook will guide you step by step to take control, build better habits, and achieve real results. You'll learn how to make decisions that stick, set clear goals, track your progress, and stay disciplined even when motivation fades. Every chapter gives practical advice you can apply today. No fluff, no jargon, just clear steps that produce real change. You'll discover how to fuel your body and mind with clean energy, surround yourself with the right people, and shape your environment to support your growth. Reflection and adjustment will help you stay on track and keep improving week after week. Stick with this audiobook, follow the actionable steps, and by the end of 6 months, you'll look back and see a stronger, sharper, and more focused version of yourself. Subscribe to audiobook every day and start transforming now. Number 1. Decide today. No more waiting. Decide today. No more waiting. This is the single action that separates people who change their lives from people who keep wishing. Decision is simple on the surface and difficult in practice. Decision is not a feeling. Decision is a clear choice combined with follow-through. The moment you choose, you pull the future closer. The time to choose is now, and the rest of the chapter will give specific, practical ways to turn that choice into daily action for the next 6 months. First, make the decision concrete. Saying, "I want to change," is too vague. Decide exactly what will be different in 6 months. Write it down in one sentence: what you will be doing, how you will feel, and one measurable outcome. For example, in 6 months, I will run 3 times a week, lose 10 pounds, and sleep 7 hours nightly. Or, in 6 months, I will finish my online course and launch a freelance service that earns $1,000 per month. Keep the sentence short and specific. This becomes the lodestar. Put it where you will see it every morning. Second, set a start date and an end date. Most people say, "I will start tomorrow," and then delay again. Choose a real calendar date for the first action and a real calendar date 6 months from that day. Put both on your calendar now. Make the start non-negotiable. Treat that date like a meeting that you must attend. If a conflict arises, reschedule other things, not your start. This creates psychological clarity. A deadline focuses attention and reduces the endless debate that kills progress. Third, commit publicly in a way that matters to you. Public commitment increases accountability by turning a private intention into a social contract. Tell one person who will ask for updates. Post a short statement on social media if that motivates you. Send an email to a friend with the dates and the plan. The goal is not to show off. The goal is to create a mild external pressure that will help you act when motivation fades. Choose the level of exposure you can maintain without panic. The point is consistency over spectacle. Fourth, break the 6-month goal into weekly actions. A 6-month time frame is long enough to allow big change and short enough to demand urgency. Translate the ultimate outcome into the smallest meaningful actions you can commit to every week. If the aim is learning a new skill, the weekly actions might be: complete 2 lessons, practice for 3 hours, and write 1 short summary. If the aim is fitness, weekly actions might be 6 strength sessions, 3 cardio sessions, and 1 grocery shop for healthy food. Put these weekly actions on the calendar as fixed appointments. When an action is scheduled, it moves from idea to obligation. Fifth, reduce friction. The easier a chosen action is to start, the more likely it will happen. Prepare the environment so the first step is automatic. If morning workouts are the plan, set clothes out the night before and have water ready. If writing is the plan, open a blank document and place a note on the screen with your first sentence. Remove obstacles. Unsubscribe from one newsletter that steals time. Delete one distracting app. or move an item that tempts you out of reach. Every removed friction point saves willpower and conserves energy for the real work. 6. Use implementation intentions. This is a simple decision technique. Specify exactly when and where you will act and what you will do. Instead of "I will study more," say "on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 7:00 to 8:00 p.m. If "I will complete the next lesson and take notes in the study notebook at the kitchen table." The brain responds to this clarity. When the moment arrives, there is no debate because the plan is already decided. Repeat this method for typical decision traps. If I feel tempted to skip, then I will put on headphones and start with 5 minutes. 7th, create a ritual for starting. Rituals remove the question of whether to begin. A ritual can be as simple as making a cup of tea, sitting in the same chair, and speaking the one-sentence goal out loud. The ritual signals the brain that work is beginning and reduces resistance. Keep rituals brief and repeatable. They are not performative, they are practical triggers. 8th, give yourself measurable checkpoints. Weekly tracking is essential. Choose one simple metric that proves you are moving forward. It might be minutes practiced, lessons completed, workouts logged, or pages written. Every Sunday, update this metric in a single line of a journal or spreadsheet. Do not overcomplicate the tracking system. The aim is clarity, not perfection. When the data is visible, adjust the short-term plan to correct course. 9th, use small losses as fuel. Mistakes will happen. You will miss a session or sleep poorly. This is normal. When a slip occurs, avoid too harmful reactions, making this the end of the story, or making excuses that turn into habit. Instead, treat the slip as information. Ask 2 precise questions. Why did this happen? What will I change this week to prevent it? Answer in 1 sentence, and translate that answer into 1 immediate action. That action is your repair. It could be moving a workout to a different time, preparing food the night before, or limiting evening screen time. This method prevents small setbacks from becoming large ones. 10th, introduce stakes that matter. When personal motivation fades, consequences help. Create stakes that you can commit to. Pay a friend a sum if you fail to meet the month's goal, or join a group with an entry fee that you only get back if you complete the plan. Choose stakes aligned with your values. Financial penalties work for many people because loss is felt strongly. Another option is reputation stakes. Promise a public update or a presentation at the 6-month mark. Stakes should not be cruel or self-punishing. They should be fair and designed to focus your attention. 11th, build a minimal support structure. No one succeeds in isolation. Identify 1 person to check in weekly, a short list of resources to learn from, and 1 simple tool to organize actions, like a calendar or checklist app. Keep the support minimal and reliable. Overcomplicating support systems creates more resistance than it solves. A single reliable accountability partner who respects honesty is more useful than 3 casual supporters. 12th, train decision speed. Practice making small choices quickly and sticking to them. The brain is like a muscle. Decisions get easier with practice. Use daily micro-decisions to build this skill. Choose what to eat, when to wake, and what to practice without extended debate. When bigger choices come, the habit of deciding firmly will carry over. Avoid the trap of waiting for the perfect moment or more information. Most choices can be tested and corrected. Speed plus correction beats delay plus regret. 13th, anchor identity to action. Change is easier when identity shifts. Instead of saying, "I am trying to be a runner," say, "I am the type of person who runs 3 times per week." The difference is subtle and powerful. Identity statements are reinforced by repeated action. Each completed task is evidence that the new identity is real. Use the phrase that fits you and repeat it when you start the day. This is not about arrogance, it is about aligning self-image with behavior. 14th, preserve energy through boundaries. Deciding today does not mean saying yes to everything. Protect the time you scheduled for the 6-month plan. When requests come that interfere with those hours, practice a brief refusal and a reschedule offer. Boundaries are a form of respect for the work. Say no without drama. Use short phrases. I cannot this week. Can we try next Friday? The aim is to keep the plan intact while remaining polite and effective. 15th, plan for the finish and the next step. A clear ending keeps momentum. Mark the 6-month end on the calendar with a concrete celebration that recognizes progress, not perfection. Schedule a review meeting with your accountability partner, record the results, and document what worked and what needs improvement. Decide in advance whether the 6-month plan will continue into a new cycle and how it will adapt. This forward plan prevents the common post-goal collapse, where people return to old habits because the period had no meaningful close. Make one decision now that you will look back on 6 months later and be glad you made. The choice to start is not dramatic. It is practical. It requires clear wording, a calendar, small weekly actions, reduced friction, accountability, measurable tracking, and a plan for repair when things go wrong. The discipline of deciding is a daily practice. Each morning, reaffirm the choice by reading the one-sentence goal and marking one tiny action on the calendar. In time, consistent small actions accumulate into a different life. Decide today, no more waiting. Number 2. Set clear 6-month goals. Setting clear 6-month goals is about building a bridge between who you are today and who you intend to become. It's not about wishful thinking or vague intentions, it's about structure, clarity, and measurable direction. Goals that are written with precision turn uncertainty into a clear path. They transform time from something that just passes into something that works for you. 6 months is long enough to achieve something meaningful and short enough to demand focus. When you define this period with accuracy, every action gains purpose. The process begins not with ambition, but with understanding. You must know what truly matters to you before you can decide where to go. Start by identifying one central theme for your next 6 months. It could be health, career, discipline, learning, or emotional growth. One theme keeps your energy from scattering across too many directions. Most people fail because they divide their effort among too many pursuits. Decide which area of your life, if improved, would create the greatest positive ripple. Once you have the theme, write it down in one sentence that expresses the direction of change you want. That sentence becomes your North Star for the next 6 months. Next, translate that theme into specific outcomes. A clear goal is measurable and time-bound. It defines what success looks like. If your theme is health, the outcome might be run a total of 200 kilometers within 6 months. If your theme is career, it could be complete a new certification and earn one project with it. Avoid abstract statements such as get fit or improve at work. These phrases sound good, but offer no target. The human mind needs visible progress. When the goal is specific, progress becomes trackable and momentum builds naturally. Once you know what you want to achieve, divide that goal into monthly benchmarks. Each month must serve as a clear checkpoint. For example, if your 6-month goal is to lose 12 kilograms, then each month's benchmark is 2 kilograms. If your goal is to save $3,000, then each month's aim is $500. This segmentation transforms a large goal into smaller, doable pieces. Big goals often paralyze because they feel far away. Monthly targets remind you that success is built in smaller victories. Every time you meet a benchmark, you confirm that your plan is working. Now narrow it down even further into weekly objectives. This step is where clarity becomes action. Weekly objectives guide your behavior directly. If your aim is to read 12 books in 6 months, your weekly goal is simple: read 2 chapters each week. If your goal is to start a side business, the first week might be researching markets, the second building a basic page, the third reaching out to your first potential client. These short cycles create consistent motion. Momentum is not built from grand gestures, it's built from ordinary weeks used wisely. It's important to write your goals, not just think about them. Writing transfers ideas from the abstract to the concrete. It makes them visible and real. When you write a goal, you give it structure. The page becomes a mirror showing whether your thoughts are clear or vague. Use plain language, not inspirational slogans. Wake up at 6 a.m. 5 days a week is clear. Become a morning person is not. Clarity removes confusion. The more exact your wording, the easier it becomes to act. After writing your 6-month goal and its smaller parts, define why this goal matters. The why creates resilience when effort feels heavy. Many people quit not because they can't achieve the goal, but because they forget why they started. Write down the deeper purpose behind your choice. Maybe it's to prove to yourself that you can be consistent. Maybe it's to secure financial freedom, regain health, or earn self-respect. When you know why, you stop negotiating with yourself when things get difficult. Purpose is stronger than comfort. Visualize the 6-month result clearly. Picture the moment you reach the goal. Where you are, what you feel, how you look, what has changed. Visualization is not fantasy. It's mental rehearsal. It trains your brain to recognize what you're working toward. The more detailed your vision, the easier it becomes to act in ways that align with it. Each day, hold that picture for a few seconds. You are teaching your subconscious to move in that direction. It's quiet training that sharpens your focus. Now shift to defining standards. Goals give direction, but standards determine consistency. A standard is the baseline of behavior you refuse to fall below. For example, your goal might be to exercise 4 times a week, but your standard is never going more than 2 days without movement. Your goal might be to write a book, but your standard is writing at least 1 paragraph every day. Standards protect progress when motivation fades. They are the rules you live by during your 6-month transformation. Every clear goal needs a method of measurement. Progress is only real when it can be tracked. Choose 1 or 2 metrics that matter most for your goal. Use simple tracking tools, an app, a notebook, or a spreadsheet. For physical goals, measurements could be distance, weight, or repetitions. For skill-based goals, it could be lessons completed or hours practiced. Review progress weekly and mark it visually. Seeing results, even small ones, fuels confidence. Confidence is built through evidence, not through talk. Anticipate obstacles early. Every meaningful goal encounters friction, time constraints, self-doubt, fatigue, unexpected responsibilities. Write down the possible barriers that could appear in your path, and one solution for each. If time is an issue, schedule shorter sessions instead of abandoning the task. If motivation dips, pair the task with music, a podcast, or a friend who shares the same journey. Planning for obstacles does not mean expecting failure. It means respecting reality. The prepared mind stays calm when challenges appear. Review your goals often. The first draft of your plan will never be perfect. Life changes, and so will your understanding of what matters. Every 2 weeks, read your goals again and adjust the method if needed, but keep the destination the same. Flexibility in strategy combined with firmness in direction is a powerful combination. Many people either change their goals too quickly or never adjust at all. The right approach lies in between. Stay loyal to the purpose but smart about the process. Be honest about your pace. Some people rush too fast and burn out. Others move too slowly and lose urgency. The goal is sustainable progress. Choose a rhythm that challenges you but remains realistic within your daily responsibilities. 6 months of steady growth will always outperform 2 weeks of extreme effort, followed by exhaustion. Build a system that you can maintain. This is what separates transformation from temporary excitement. Reward yourself intelligently along the way. Rewards are a way to reinforce discipline. When you hit a benchmark, acknowledge it with a positive action, a rest day, a small treat, or time with loved ones. The human brain thrives on recognition. Celebrating progress maintains morale. Avoid rewards that sabotage your effort. Choose ones that strengthen your identity as someone disciplined and consistent. Create a simple visual reminder of your 6-month goal. It could be a note on your wall, a phrase on your phone's lock screen, or a symbol on your desk. Visibility keeps goals alive. Out of sight means out of mind. A constant reminder quietly reinforces commitment. You'll see it during moments of hesitation, and remember what you promised yourself. This single act helps you stay aligned when distractions try to pull you away. Protect your time as if it were money. The biggest reason goals fail is because time is treated carelessly. Set specific blocks in your schedule for your 6-month plan and guard them. Each block of focused time compounds into progress. Even 30 minutes daily creates significant change over 6 months. Consistency is built through structure, not through occasional bursts of effort. Evaluate progress objectively. At the end of each month, review your metrics, your consistency, and your mental state. Write a short reflection on what improved, what didn't, and what will change. Honest reflection builds awareness. You learn how you function under pressure, what motivates you most, and where your weaknesses lie. Self-awareness turns goal setting into personal mastery. Finally, remind yourself daily that the 6-month goal is not only about reaching the destination, it's about building a character that can sustain it. When you set clear goals, you practice discipline, foresight, and responsibility. You prove that your choices can shape your future. The clarity you create in this period will spill into every part of your life. 6 months of focused living can change the way you think, move, and decide forever. Each goal achieved reinforces your belief in your ability to design your own growth. The power of clear 6-month goals is not in the paper they're written on, it's in the person who acts on them every day without waiting for the perfect moment. Number 3. Create daily non-negotiable habits. Daily non-negotiable habits are the backbone of transformation. They are the silent structure behind every lasting change. While goals give direction, habits build the pathway. Habits are not built on mood or bursts of motivation. They are built on discipline, repetition, and consistency. When you decide what must happen every single day, no matter how you feel, you create stability in your life. The world may shift around you, but your habits remain constant. These small, repeatable actions shape who you become. Transformation doesn't come from occasional effort. It comes from what you do daily, even when no one is watching. The first step in creating daily non-negotiable habits is to understand their purpose. Non-negotiables are not long to-do lists, filled with minor tasks. They are the few essential behaviors that keep your life anchored and moving forward. They are the things you commit to regardless of how tired, busy, or distracted you are. Think of them as the foundation of your personal system, the actions that protect your focus, strengthen your body, and sharpen your mind. You do them not because they are easy, but because they define the standard you live by. To identify these habits, look closely at your goals and values. Ask yourself what 3 to 5 daily actions, if done consistently, would bring you closer to your desired life. The key is to be specific and realistic. If you want physical strength, one non-negotiable might be a short exercise session every day. If you want mental clarity, it might be 10 minutes of journaling or reading. If your goal is productivity, it could be reviewing your priorities each morning before touching your phone. Keep the list short so it becomes sustainable. The goal is not to overload your routine, but to anchor it with the most impactful actions. When choosing daily non-negotiables, think in terms of sustainability over intensity. People often start too big and then burn out quickly. Consistency beats intensity every time. A 10-minute daily habit done for 6 months will have more impact than a 2-hour routine that collapses after a week. The best habits are those that you can maintain even on your hardest days. They should be simple enough to complete without debate, but meaningful enough to move your life forward. After identifying your habits, the next step is to attach them to a fixed point in your day. Habits thrive when they are linked to existing routines. For instance, do your exercise right after waking up, meditate after brushing your teeth, or review your goals right before lunch. This technique, often called habit stacking, removes decision fatigue. You no longer wonder when to do it. It becomes automatic because it's tied to something you already do. The smoother the process, the easier it becomes to repeat. Consistency requires an environment that supports your habits. Make your surroundings work for you, not against you. If your habit is reading, keep a book visible where you relax. If your habit is exercise, keep your gear ready in a specific spot. If your habit is writing, have a designated space that signals your brain it's time to work. Your environment influences your behavior more than willpower ever could. When cues are clear, habits activate effortlessly. Design your space so that the right actions are easy and the wrong ones are inconvenient. Accountability plays a major role in maintaining daily habits. While motivation fades, accountability reminds you of your promise. Track your habits daily in a simple notebook or an app. Mark each completed day with a symbol, a check, an X, or a short note. Over time, the growing streak becomes its own motivation. The mind dislikes breaking a visible chain of success. If you miss a day, restart immediately without guilt. One missed day doesn't destroy a habit. Giving up after a miss does. Progress is built on getting back on track faster each time. Discipline grows stronger through small victories. Each time you follow through on your daily non-negotiables, you prove to yourself that you are capable of keeping promises. This builds self-respect. You begin to trust your own word again. That trust becomes a source of quiet confidence that spreads into other parts of your life. People often underestimate the emotional power of small, consistent actions. Completing your daily habits, even when you don't feel like it, creates a sense of control and inner strength that nothing else can replace. Resistance will appear every day. Some mornings you won't want to get up early. Some evenings you'll want to skip journaling. Expect it. Discipline is not the absence of resistance. It's the decision to act despite it. On those difficult days, remind yourself that feelings are temporary, but habits are long-term investments. Each act of consistency weakens the influence of emotion over your behavior. The ability to do what you said you would do, regardless of how you feel, is one of the strongest forms of freedom. To make habits non-negotiable, remove the option of negotiation. This means you decide once, not daily. Instead of asking, "Will I work out today?" decide that exercise is as normal as brushing your teeth. Treat your habits as a natural part of your identity. You no longer question whether to do them because they define who you are. The more automatic a habit becomes, the less energy it requires. This frees your mind to focus on larger challenges while your routine runs on autopilot. Build a system of reinforcement to strengthen your habits. Positive reinforcement keeps momentum alive. After completing your non-negotiables each day, acknowledge the effort. You can say a short phrase to yourself like, "I showed up today." That small recognition sends a message to your mind that consistency is valuable. Avoid using rewards that conflict with your goals. Instead, choose rewards that align with progress, such as time to relax, a walk outside, or something creative you enjoy. Reinforcement should encourage growth, not undo it. Reflect regularly on how your habits are shaping your life. Once a week, take 5 minutes to review your non-negotiables. Ask whether they still serve your purpose or if any need adjusting. As life evolves, habits must adapt too. Some may need more challenge, while others might need simplification. Reflection ensures your routine remains purposeful rather than mechanical. A good habit is one that still moves you closer to your vision 6 months from now. To maintain momentum, remove unnecessary choices from your day. Decision fatigue is a silent enemy of consistency. Simplify what you can, prepare meals in advance, plan clothes for the next day, organize your workspace at night. Every decision you remove makes room for energy to sustain your non-negotiables. When life feels overwhelming, structure becomes your protection. Routine turns chaos into order. There will be days when progress feels invisible. Habits are often quiet. The benefits accumulate slowly until one day they become undeniable. You might not see immediate results, but your body, mind, and habits are adapting beneath the surface. The small daily actions compound, like drops of water forming a river. Stay consistent through the invisible phase. The transformation will reveal itself to those who remain faithful to the process. Surround yourself with people who respect discipline. Being around others who take their routines seriously reinforces your own standards. You absorb the energy and attitudes of those near you. Spend time with individuals who inspire responsibility and growth. If that's not possible physically, use books, audiobooks, or online mentors who embody the discipline you seek. Environment extends beyond physical space. It includes what you consume mentally. Feed your mind with examples of consistency and excellence. As weeks turn into months, your daily non-negotiables will evolve into second nature. They will no longer feel like tasks, but like part of who you are. You'll notice that your confidence rises, your focus sharpens, and your mind quiets. You'll begin to rely less on external motivation because internal discipline will guide you. When you see yourself showing up day after day, you'll understand that self-mastery is not about control, it's about alignment between thought, word, and action. The discipline of maintaining daily habits creates freedom. Freedom from chaos, from procrastination, from regret. Each non-negotiable habit you keep is a declaration that your future matters more than your momentary comfort. Every completed routine strengthens your foundation. Over time, your habits build a quiet power that others will notice, but more importantly, you will feel it deeply. You'll move through life with greater steadiness because you've proven to yourself that you can follow through no matter what happens around you. 6 months of unwavering commitment to your daily non-negotiables will reshape your identity. You will think differently, act differently, and carry yourself differently. Your days will no longer drift aimlessly because every morning begins with purpose and every night ends with accomplishment. This is how transformation takes root, not through grand resolutions, but through ordinary days lived with extraordinary discipline. Every checkmark, every repetition, every decision to do the work when it would be easier not to. That is the foundation of a stronger, wiser, and more resilient version of yourself. Number 4. Eliminate distractions and excuses fast. Distractions and excuses are the silent thieves of progress. They don't arrive with warning or noise. They slip quietly into your day and steal your time, focus, and energy. Every person who sets out to change their life must face this battle. It's not about being busy, it's about being distracted by things that do not matter. Real transformation requires brutal honesty about where your attention goes. The truth is, most people don't fail because they lack ability. They fail because they allow constant interruption to pull them away from what matters most. If you want to move forward in 6 months, you must learn to cut out what wastes your time and silence the excuses that keep you comfortable. The first step is to become aware of your distractions. You can't eliminate what you refuse to acknowledge. Spend 1 full day observing where your attention goes. Write down every moment you switch tasks unnecessarily. Check your phone, scroll without purpose, or start something you never finish. You'll be surprised by how much time disappears into habits that serve no purpose. This awareness alone is powerful. It shines light on patterns that have gone unnoticed for years. You begin to see that distraction isn't an accident, it's a behavior you've allowed. Once you see it clearly, you can no longer lie to yourself about where your hours are going. After identifying distractions, separate them into 2 groups, controllable and conditional. Controllable distractions are those you can remove immediately. Unnecessary notifications, social media, idle gossip, clutter, random browsing. Conditional distractions are those that come from environment or circumstance, like noise, work interruptions, or unexpected obligations. The controllable ones require immediate action. Turn off notifications that don't relate to your goals. Move apps that waste your time to a folder out of sight, or delete them completely. Keep only what adds value. You don't need constant updates to stay informed. You need silence to stay effective. Conditional distractions require boundaries. For example, if people interrupt you often, communicate clearly when you're unavailable. A short phrase, such as "I'll be free in an hour," sets a boundary without guilt. If your environment is noisy, use tools, earphones, quiet hours, or a specific workspace. Control what you can and adjust to what you can't. Many people let outside circumstances decide their focus, but discipline means reclaiming control over your time even when conditions aren't perfect. The environment you create either supports your focus or sabotages it. Build one that respects your concentration. Excuses are distractions disguised as reasoning. They sound rational but exist to protect comfort. The human mind is skilled at justifying inaction. "I don't have time, I'm too tired," or "I'll start when things calm down." These phrases feel true, but they are mental traps. The way to eliminate excuses is through direct evidence. Instead of arguing with your excuses, prove them wrong with action. When your mind says you're too tired to work out, do 5 minutes. When it says there's no time, show that even 10 focused minutes create progress. Every small act weakens the power of excuses. They lose strength when you stop giving them attention. The faster you act, the less power distractions have. Delay feeds hesitation. When you decide to do something important, act immediately before your brain finds reasons to resist. Action breaks the loop of overthinking. Momentum silences excuses because motion creates clarity. You can adjust your approach later, but you can't adjust what never started. Discipline grows through quick, decisive action. You train yourself to respond to priorities rather than impulses. Distractions thrive on clutter, mental and physical. A cluttered space leads to scattered thoughts. Clean your surroundings daily. Keep your workspace simple and organized. Every object in front of you should have a purpose. Remove what doesn't contribute to your focus. Minimalism isn't about style, it's about creating mental space. The fewer decisions your environment demands, the more energy you save for what truly matters. The same applies to digital clutter. Organize files, close unnecessary tabs, and unsubscribe from what no longer adds value. A clear space leads to a clear mind. Learn to control your attention with intention. Attention is your most valuable currency. Spend it deliberately. Begin your day by deciding where your focus will go and what does not deserve it. Set clear blocks of uninterrupted time for deep work. During those blocks, remove everything unrelated. No phone, no tabs, no background noise. Even short periods of focused attention outperform long stretches of distracted effort. Attention management is more powerful than time management. When your attention is undivided, productivity multiplies naturally. Social distractions are often underestimated. Not everyone deserves access to your energy. Some conversations, relationships, and environments drain your focus instead of fueling it. Learn to recognize these patterns and step away respectfully. Protecting your focus is not selfish. It's responsible. You cannot grow while constantly surrounded by negativity, gossip, or noise. Choose to spend time with people who respect your boundaries and value your growth. When you limit unnecessary interaction, you make room for meaningful connection. Excuses often hide behind perfectionism. Many people delay progress because they want conditions to be ideal before starting. They wait for the perfect plan, the perfect time, the perfect opportunity. That moment never comes. Perfection is a form of fear disguised as preparation. The only way to eliminate it is to start messy and refine along the way. Progress doesn't require perfect conditions, it requires consistent action. Every successful person began before they felt ready. The faster you release the need for perfect timing, the faster you gain real experience. One powerful way to fight distraction is to create a daily reset ritual. This is a brief routine that recenters your focus when your attention drifts. It might be as simple as standing up, taking a few breaths, or writing down your next step on paper. This physical action breaks the loop of scattered thought and brings you back to the present. You can use it anytime your mind starts to wander. Consistent resets strengthen awareness and help you return to productive flow faster. Technology is a tool, not a master. The phone, computer, or television should serve your goals, not control your hours. Audit your digital habits. Check how much time you spend online each day and where that time goes. Use apps that track screen time and set limits. Replace mindless scrolling with mindful breaks. Walk outside, stretch, or sit quietly. When you reclaim your digital habits, you reclaim large portions of your life that were being silently drained. Excuses lose power when you focus on responsibility instead of blame. Externalizing problems keeps you stuck. The moment you take full ownership of your situation, you gain the ability to change it. Stop waiting for better circumstances. Build discipline within the ones you have. The person who takes responsibility for every choice becomes unstoppable. Responsibility is not guilt, it's freedom. It gives you control over your own results. Learn to detect subtle forms of distraction disguised as productivity. Busy work can feel satisfying but often leads nowhere. Constantly checking emails, adjusting minor details, or planning endlessly without execution gives the illusion of progress. Real work moves you closer to results. Before starting any task, ask, will this action bring me closer to my goal, or is it just noise? This single question filters out meaningless activity. Focus on results, not appearance. Silence can also eliminate distraction. Noise overloads the senses and prevents deep thinking. Spend parts of your day in complete quiet, even if only for a few minutes. Stillness sharpens focus and improves self-awareness. In quiet moments, you notice patterns, thoughts, and tendencies that go unseen in chaos. Silence teaches you where your attention naturally drifts, and with that knowledge, you can redirect it consciously. Excuses shrink when you attach accountability to your words. Promise yourself and others that you'll follow through. Speak only commitments you intend to honor. When you treat your words seriously, excuses lose credibility. The act of keeping your own word builds integrity. Integrity becomes your defense against distraction because you begin to value action over comfort. The habit of immediate correction keeps distractions from taking root. The moment you realize you've drifted off course, correct it instantly. Don't wait for the perfect time to restart. The faster you return to focus, the shorter the recovery time. Train your mind to notice when it wanders and bring it back with precision. Each correction strengthens mental control. Over time, eliminating distractions and excuses becomes an instinct. You no longer waste energy on what doesn't serve you. Focus becomes natural. Excuses sound hollow, and your standards rise quietly. You begin to value your time as something sacred, not something to be traded for temporary pleasure. The clarity this creates feels freeing. You experience peace, not because life is easier, but because your attention is under your control. 6 months of living without constant distraction will change everything. Your work will deepen, your relationships will improve, and your confidence will grow. You will see that progress was never about doing more. It was about doing what matters without interruption. Excuses fade, distractions fall away, and what remains is pure, steady effort. The power to focus, the ability to act without delay, and the discipline to stay on course. These are the qualities that build unshakable growth. Every day you remove one distraction or silence one excuse, you move closer to mastery over yourself and your life. Number 5. Track progress every single week. Tracking your progress every single week is one of the most powerful ways to turn effort into real results. Most people set goals and then move blindly, hoping that one day everything will fall into place. But without consistent tracking, you're just guessing. You can't improve what you don't measure. Weekly tracking gives you a clear mirror. It shows you exactly where you're winning, where you're slipping, and what needs your focus next. It's not about perfection, it's about awareness. When you track your growth regularly, you take control of your direction instead of letting time pass without purpose. At the end of every week, stop and review what actually happened. Don't just look at what you planned, look at what you did, what tasks were completed, which habits stayed consistent, where did you fall short. Write everything down honestly, even the uncomfortable parts. Many people avoid tracking because it exposes where they've failed to follow through, but that's the whole point. Facing the truth about your actions is how you build real discipline. Numbers don't lie, and progress doesn't hide. When you see it on paper, it becomes real. Start simple. Use a notebook, a journal, or a digital tracker. Write down your top 3 priorities for the week, and then note what progress you made on each. This doesn't need to be complicated. If your goal is to exercise 5 times a week, mark how many days you actually did it. If you want to save money, record how much went into savings. If you're building a new habit, track your streak. These small pieces of data might not seem important day to day, but over time, they form a clear story of your effort and consistency. Weekly tracking creates accountability. When you know that every 7 days you'll sit down and evaluate your progress, you're less likely to drift through the week carelessly. It keeps your mind alert. You start asking yourself, will I be proud of what I record this Sunday? That question alone can change how you act on a Wednesday afternoon when motivation starts to fade. It turns your week into a series of deliberate choices rather than random reactions. Accountability pushes you to stay consistent, even when it's inconvenient. The beauty of weekly tracking is that it makes improvement measurable. You can see patterns forming, habits getting stronger, routines getting smoother, results growing steadily. And when progress slows down or stops, you don't have to guess why. You can trace it back to a specific week, see what changed, and correct it immediately. That's how you avoid long periods of stagnation. You catch the problem early instead of realizing months later that you've drifted off course. Tracking also fuels motivation in a way that no speech or video can. Seeing your effort build over time creates a sense of pride that keeps you going. Even on tough weeks, progress, no matter how small, reminds you that your work matters. You don't have to feel motivated every day. Seeing proof of your growth becomes motivation itself. When you see 5 weeks of progress in front of you, it's hard to quit on week 6. Be honest with your results, but also be fair. The goal isn't to shame yourself for what didn't happen. The purpose is to understand. Maybe you missed your goals because of poor planning, lack of sleep, or too much distraction. Identifying the reason lets you fix it instead of repeating it. The weekly review becomes a short, focused meeting with yourself, a chance to learn, adjust, and plan smarter. Each week becomes a fresh opportunity to improve based on what you've just learned. Use your weekly review to set micro goals. Big transformations come from small adjustments made consistently. Ask yourself, what one thing can I do better next week? Maybe it's waking up 30 minutes earlier, cutting down screen time, or staying focused during work sessions. Choose one improvement and commit to it fully for 7 days. At the next review, check your progress and choose the next upgrade. Over time, these small, consistent refinements create massive change. Celebrate wins, even small ones. Many people skip this part, thinking celebration is a waste of time, but acknowledging your progress keeps your energy alive. Every time you hit a milestone, no matter how minor, pause and recognize it. You're building new habits, and that takes effort. The more you appreciate your wins, the stronger your belief in yourself becomes. Progress grows faster when it's noticed, not ignored. When you track your week, don't just focus on outcomes. Pay attention to behaviors. For example, if your goal is to improve your health, tracking only your weight isn't enough. Note your food choices, sleep hours, water intake, and mood. If your goal is financial growth, don't just track income. Track spending habits, savings discipline, and unnecessary purchases. Results come from behaviors, and behaviors can be adjusted once they're visible. The deeper your tracking, the clearer your path forward. Patterns tell stories. After several weeks, you'll begin to see rhythms in your life. Certain days when energy dips, habits that are easy to maintain, triggers that lead to procrastination. Recognizing these patterns gives you power. You can build your schedule around your natural strengths instead of fighting against them. Maybe you're most productive in the morning, then place your hardest tasks there. Maybe weekends are your weak spot. Plan extra structure for those days. Data from your tracking helps you design your life intelligently. Don't wait until everything is perfect to start tracking. Begin now, even if your system is messy or incomplete. The process will refine itself. The act of tracking matters more than the format. Some weeks will look chaotic, but consistency is what counts. Over time, you'll naturally create a rhythm that fits your style. You'll start to anticipate your review, knowing it's your time to check in with yourself and realign your goals. Avoid comparing your weekly progress to others. Everyone moves at a different pace. What matters is that you're improving compared to who you were last week. Some people make massive leaps, others take smaller steps, but the direction matters more than the speed. Progress is personal. Comparing it to others only breeds frustration. Stay focused on your own lane, your own timeline, and your own growth. One of the best ways to make weekly tracking effective is to do it on the same day and time each week. Make it a ritual, maybe Sunday evening or Monday morning, whatever works for your schedule. Light a candle, play some music, or find a quiet spot where you can think clearly. Treat it as a sacred meeting between you and your future self. This consistency strengthens the habit and builds anticipation. You'll start to look forward to it as a moment of reflection and reset. Tracking also exposes how you spend your energy. Sometimes it's not about what you're doing, but how you're feeling while doing it. Maybe certain tasks drain you more than they should. Maybe some projects feel forced and others energize you. Use this awareness to adjust your approach. When you understand your own energy cycles, you can work smarter, not harder. Tracking helps you find balance between effort and recovery. You can even include emotional check-ins in your weekly review. Ask yourself how you felt overall: stressed, focused, joyful, or overwhelmed. Emotional tracking helps you understand whether your current habits are truly helping your well-being. Success isn't only about productivity, it's about alignment. If you're making progress but constantly feeling drained, it's time to adjust your methods. Tracking keeps your personal growth holistic, not mechanical. Over time, weekly tracking becomes more than just a habit. It becomes a dialogue with yourself. You begin to trust your process. You no longer feel lost because you have proof of movement. You know where you've been and where you're headed. When setbacks happen, you recover faster because you can see how far you've already come. Tracking builds perspective, and perspective builds resilience. In 6 months, your weekly notes will tell a story of growth. You'll be able to look back and see the transformation, not as a blur of effort, but as a series of deliberate steps. Each page will represent discipline, self-awareness, and progress. You'll realize that success didn't arrive suddenly. It was built week by week, decision by decision, action by action. Tracking progress every week turns your life into a living system of improvement. It removes the guesswork and gives you clarity. You stop hoping for change and start engineering it. You become both the creator and the observer of your transformation. When you track your journey consistently, you ensure that no week is wasted. Every 7 days becomes a checkpoint toward your best self. 6 months of this level of awareness will make you unrecognizable in the best way possible. Number 6. Upgrade environment. Upgrade your mind. The environment you live in shapes how you think, feel, and act far more than most people realize. Every sound, color, smell, and detail around you influences your focus, mood, and decisions. If you want to transform your life in 6 months, you have to start by transforming the spaces you spend your time in. The mind does not thrive in chaos, and motivation cannot survive in clutter. Upgrading your environment is not just about creating a cleaner room or a nicer workspace. It's about building a physical space that supports the person you're becoming, not the one you're trying to outgrow. Look around right now and pay attention to your surroundings. The objects, noises, and layout of your space all send signals to your brain. A messy desk, a loud environment, or a bedroom filled with distractions tells your mind to stay scattered. On the other hand, a space that's organized, calm, and intentional tells your mind to focus, create, and grow. You cannot expect clarity of thought when you live in mental and physical clutter. Your environment either helps you rise or keeps you stuck in the same patterns. Start small, but start deliberately. The first step is to remove what no longer serves you. Old items that hold no purpose, clothes you never wear, objects that remind you of a version of yourself you've outgrown. These take up energy. Each unnecessary thing in your space adds to mental noise. The process of decluttering is not just cleaning, it's an act of self-respect. You're telling yourself, I deserve a space that reflects growth, not stagnation. Every item you remove creates room for peace, focus, and inspiration. Once your space is cleared, the next step is design. Design your environment to serve your goals. If you want to read more, keep books within reach and your phone out of sight. If your goal is fitness, set out your workout clothes the night before or keep your mat visible. The layout of your space should constantly remind you of what matters most. Every visual cue either reinforces discipline or feeds distraction. Make your environment an ally, not an obstacle. Pay attention to light. Natural sunlight can elevate mood, increase energy, and improve focus. Open your windows, rearrange your workspace to face light, or take walks in the sun whenever possible. Light has a psychological effect. It signals your brain to stay awake and active. Similarly, avoid harsh, artificial lighting at night. Soft, warm light helps your mind wind down and promotes rest. The goal is to align your environment with your body's rhythm, not fight against it. Noise also matters more than you think. Constant background noise, TV chatter, notifications, random music trains your brain to expect distraction. When you're surrounded by noise, you lose the ability to think deeply. Silence, on the other hand, builds awareness and presence. Create quiet zones where you can think, read, or reflect. If silence feels uncomfortable, that's a sign you've become too used to external stimulation. Reclaiming silence is one of the fastest ways to strengthen your mental focus. The people around you are part of your environment too. If your surroundings are filled with negativity, gossip, or apathy, your motivation will slowly fade. You don't have to cut everyone out, but you must be mindful of who has the most influence on your energy. Spend more time with people who inspire you to aim higher, who live with intention and discipline. Conversations shape thought patterns. The right environment is not only physical, it's social. The energy of those you surround yourself with either supports your goals or undermines them. Upgrade your digital environment as well. The modern world blurs the line between the physical and digital spaces we live in. Your phone, laptop, and social media feeds are all part of your mental environment. Clean up your digital space just like your physical one. Unfollow accounts that bring negativity or distraction. Organize your files, remove unnecessary apps, create folders for goals, ideas, and plans. The goal is to make your digital environment a place of focus, not friction. Scents and sounds can also influence your state of mind. A calming scent can trigger relaxation. An energizing one can help with productivity. Playing subtle, instrumental music can enhance concentration and keep your mind sharp. Your senses are gateways to your emotions. Use them wisely. A pleasant, balanced atmosphere tells your brain it's safe to focus. You'll notice how much easier it becomes to enter a flow state when your surroundings feel harmonious. If you live with others, set boundaries for your personal growth space. You don't need an entire room. A small desk, a corner, or even a shelf dedicated to your goals can be enough. This becomes your zone of focus, your reminder that you're building something important. Protect that space. Every time you sit there, your brain learns to associate it with discipline and creativity. Over time, it becomes a trigger for productivity. Upgrading your environment doesn't mean chasing luxury. It's not about expensive decor or designer furniture. It's about alignment. A clean, simple setup with meaningful objects will always outperform an elaborate but chaotic one. Simplicity breeds focus. Every unnecessary detail steals a little bit of your attention. The fewer distractions you allow, the more mental energy you preserve for growth. Your environment also affects how you feel about yourself. When you walk into a clean, organized space, you instantly feel more capable and grounded. When your surroundings are chaotic, you carry that same chaos internally. A disciplined environment builds a disciplined mind. You can't expect self-control in one area of life and ignore it in another. Order is contagious. Once you bring it into your environment, it naturally extends to your habits, thoughts, and goals. Changing your environment can also mean changing where you spend your time. Sometimes you need new energy, a new coffee shop, a park, or a workspace. Different surroundings can refresh your perspective. If your current space feels heavy with old routines or memories, step outside of it. A change of scenery can remind you that you're not stuck, you're capable of growth. The world is full of places that can spark creativity, peace, and clarity. Seek them out intentionally. Take time each week to maintain your upgraded environment. Cleaning and organizing are not one-time acts. They're ongoing habits that show self-respect. Make it part of your weekly reset. Wipe surfaces, put things in place, and refresh your space. Every time you tidy up, you're reinforcing your commitment to a higher standard of living. You're telling your mind that order is the new normal. Be mindful of what enters your environment: objects, information, and people. Every addition should have a purpose or bring value. When something doesn't align with your goals, it quietly drains your focus. Learning to say no to clutter, noise, and unnecessary commitments is part of mastering your space. Boundaries are not walls, they are filters that protect your peace. Your mind adapts to its surroundings. When you live in an environment that encourages growth, your thoughts follow. You begin to think with more clarity, make decisions faster, and stay consistent longer. You become more intentional in how you move through each day. The environment becomes a silent partner in your success. It supports you without you even noticing. In 6 months, the difference will be obvious. A transformed space leads to a transformed mindset. You'll wake up with more energy, work with greater focus, and rest with deeper peace. Your surroundings will no longer reflect the past version of you. They will match the person you've become. And once your environment aligns with your goals, growth becomes natural. You won't have to fight for motivation. Your surroundings will remind you who you are becoming. Upgrading your environment is not just about making your space look better. It's about creating conditions that help your mind thrive. It's a declaration that you are done living passively. When your external world supports your internal goals, every day becomes easier to direct. You're no longer battling against distractions. You're guided by structure, intention, and clarity. That is how real transformation begins. Not just in thought, but in the world around you that shapes those thoughts every day. Number 7. Fuel body with clean energy. Your body is the foundation of everything you do. It's the vessel that carries your goals, your discipline, and your energy through each day. You can't expect your mind to stay sharp or your motivation to last if your body is running on fumes. True transformation starts with how you fuel yourself. What you eat, drink, and allow into your system affects how clearly you think, how deeply you focus, and how consistently you show up. Clean energy isn't just about food, it's about treating your body with respect, so it can support the life you're trying to build. The quality of your energy determines the quality of your effort. When you wake up tired, heavy, or drained, it's not always because of lack of sleep. Often, it's because the body is overloaded with processed food, sugar, or caffeine. These things give you short bursts of energy, but leave you crashing afterward. Clean energy, on the other hand, is steady and sustainable. It doesn't rely on artificial boosts. It comes from natural, nourishing sources that give your body what it truly needs. Fuel that lasts, not quick fixes that fade. Start by becoming aware of what you're consuming daily. Most people eat without thinking, driven by convenience or emotion rather than purpose. But every bite you take is a choice that either supports your growth or slows it down. You don't need a complicated diet plan or fancy supplements. You just need awareness. Ask yourself simple questions before you eat. Is this going to give me energy or take it away? Will this help me feel clear or sluggish? That moment of pause creates intention, and intention leads to better decisions. The body performs best on simple, whole foods. Fresh vegetables, fruits, clean proteins, nuts, seeds, and whole grains. All of these provide nutrients your body recognizes and can use efficiently. When your diet is clean, your body doesn't have to waste energy fighting inflammation or processing chemicals. Instead, that energy gets redirected toward focus, strength, and creativity. You start to feel lighter, more alert, and more capable of staying consistent with your goals. Water is another key piece of clean energy that people often overlook. Dehydration doesn't just make you thirsty. It affects your mood, focus, and performance. When you're even slightly dehydrated, your brain function drops and your motivation declines. Keep water nearby throughout the day and drink regularly. It's one of the simplest yet most powerful habits you can build. Think of it as giving your body the clarity it deserves. The cleaner your hydration, the cleaner your thinking. What you drink also matters as much as what you eat. Many people live off energy drinks, sugary coffees, or sodas, thinking they're staying energized, but those drinks often create more fatigue over time. The short burst of stimulation tricks the brain into feeling productive, but the crash that follows makes focus harder to maintain. Replace these with green tea, herbal infusions, or black coffee in moderation. The goal isn't to cut pleasure, it's to balance stimulation with restoration. Eating clean isn't about perfection or strict rules. It's about consistency and self-awareness. There will be times when you eat something less ideal, and that's fine. The problem is not occasional indulgence, it's daily neglect. Focus on progress, not extremes. You're building a lifestyle, not punishing yourself. Clean energy means finding harmony between discipline and enjoyment, between nourishment and satisfaction. When your body feels nourished instead of restricted, you naturally crave what's good for you. Energy also comes from how you move. A stagnant body leads to a stagnant mind. Physical activity doesn't just shape your appearance, it sharpens your focus, stabilizes your emotions, and clears your thoughts. You don't need hours in the gym. Even a short daily walk, a few sets of stretches, or light exercises at home can make a huge difference. Movement is medicine. It wakes up the body and resets your mood. When you move often, you remind yourself that your body is built for action, not passivity. Rest is another part of fueling yourself with clean energy. Many people chase productivity but neglect recovery. Sleep is not wasted time. It's how your body repairs, your mind resets, and your motivation renews. Without quality sleep, every other effort loses effectiveness. Set a sleep schedule, keep your room dark and cool, and avoid screens before bed. When your rest is consistent, your energy becomes steady. You'll notice how much more efficient you are when your body is fully recharged. Your energy is also affected by your emotions. Stress, anxiety, and negativity drain physical strength faster than poor diet ever could. When your mind is tense, your body reacts. Clean energy also means protecting your emotional space. Manage stress through breathing, meditation or journaling. Release tension through movement or stillness. The goal is to create balance between effort and ease. When your inner world is calm, your physical energy flows naturally. What you consume mentally plays a role too. The mind feeds the body as much as food does. If your days are filled with negativity, news, arguments, toxic environments, your energy will reflect that. Clean fuel also means consuming positive input, uplifting music, motivational content, meaningful conversations, time in nature. You are not just what you eat, you are also what you watch, listen to, and think about. Every piece of information you absorb either adds energy or takes it away. Clean energy is sustainable energy. It's not the short-term burst that gets you through a few days. It's the steady rhythm that powers your long-term growth. When you eat well, move daily, rest properly, and stay emotionally balanced, you create a foundation that supports every goal you pursue. The stronger your body feels, the more resilient your mind becomes. You stop relying on motivation alone because your energy becomes your discipline. You can begin with simple, practical steps. Start by improving one meal each day. Make breakfast cleaner or swap your afternoon snack for something fresh. Add one more glass of water. Reduce sugar gradually instead of cutting it all at once. Build momentum through small, realistic upgrades. As you feel the difference, your body will start to crave more of what helps it thrive. You'll notice how your thoughts become clearer, your mood stabilizes, and your productivity increases. Cooking your own meals can be a powerful act of transformation. It gives you control over what goes into your body and builds awareness of how food affects your energy. It also reconnects you with the process of nourishment, something that's often lost in a world of fast food and delivery apps. Preparing your meals with intention makes eating feel purposeful. You begin to view food not as a reward, but as fuel for a bigger mission. Avoid using food as an escape from emotion. Many people eat out of boredom, stress, or sadness. That habit numbs rather than nourishes. Instead, learn to face those emotions directly. Go for a walk, write your thoughts, or breathe deeply. The more aware you become of your triggers, the easier it becomes to choose food consciously rather than impulsively. Clean energy requires emotional honesty. It's about giving your body what it needs, not what momentary feelings demand. As you refine your diet and habits, your body will begin to thank you in quiet ways. You'll wake up earlier without exhaustion, your skin will glow, your focus will sharpen, and your patience will increase. These are not miracles, they are natural responses to better fuel. When your internal systems are aligned, everything in your external life improves. Your work, relationships, and confidence all rise with your energy. Over time, you'll start to notice that clean energy doesn't just affect your physical health, it transforms your entire lifestyle. You'll stop rushing through meals and begin eating with presence. You'll find joy in movement, rather than seeing it as a chore. You'll rest deeply without guilt. The more you take care of your body, the more it takes care of you. Every goal you chase becomes easier when your body is strong, clear, and alive with real energy. 6 months of consistent nourishment can completely change how you feel and perform. You'll look back and realize that the person you were before lived in constant fatigue without even noticing. Clean energy will have sharpened your discipline, deepened your awareness, and strengthened your willpower. Your mind will work at a higher level because your body supports it. That's what transformation truly means. Building a foundation so strong that growth becomes effortless. Your body is your most valuable asset, and it deserves care, not neglect. The food you eat, the rest you take, and the energy you cultivate are investments in your future. Treat your body like the engine of your purpose, and it will carry you through every challenge with strength and clarity. 6 months from now, when you feel unstoppable, you'll understand that true transformation doesn't start in the mind alone. It begins in the body that fuels it. Number 8. Surround yourself with driven people. The people you surround yourself with shape who you become more than you realize. Their mindset, habits, and energy influence your thoughts, your drive, and even your confidence. If you spend time around people who complain, make excuses, or stay comfortable with mediocrity, that mindset will slowly become your own. But if you surround yourself with people who are driven, focused, and committed to growth, their discipline will start to rub off on you. It's not about competition, it's about elevation. You rise when your circle challenges you to become better every single day. Your environment isn't just physical, it's social. Every conversation, every piece of advice, every attitude that enters your space becomes part of your mental world. When you're surrounded by driven people, you begin to think differently. You start setting higher standards, questioning your excuses, and chasing results instead of comfort. Driven people don't settle for average, and being around them forces you to raise your expectations for yourself. You learn to see discipline as normal, not rare. You see success as something earned, not luck. Take a moment to think about your current circle. Who pushes you to improve? Who holds you accountable? Who celebrates your wins but also calls you out when you're slacking? If the people around you don't make you want to level up, then you're in the wrong environment. You don't have to cut everyone off, but you do need to choose who gets your energy. Not everyone deserves access to your focus. Protect your space like it's sacred, because it is. The company you keep can either drain your drive or multiply it. When you start surrounding yourself with ambitious people, you'll notice that their energy feels different. They don't waste time gossiping or talking about problems. They talk about goals, strategies, and progress. Their conversations are filled with ideas, not complaints. They're more focused on action than approval. They're not perfect, but they're committed. Being around them makes you realize how much time and potential you've been wasting on negativity or distractions. Their example shows you what consistency really looks like. You'll also notice that driven people hold themselves to high standards. They don't need external motivation because their goals come from within. They have a sense of purpose that drives their actions. When you see that kind of discipline every day, it becomes contagious. You start adopting their habits, mirroring their focus, and absorbing their mindset. Before long, your energy begins to align with theirs. You start waking up earlier, working smarter, and believing more strongly in your own potential. That's the power of proximity. It silently rewires you for success. If you can, seek out mentors or peers who are ahead of you. Don't let pride stop you from learning. Driven people aren't threatened by your ambition. They respect it. Ask questions. Observe how they think, how they plan, how they handle failure. You'll realize that their success didn't come luck, but from consistent choices. When you see that firsthand, excuses lose their power. You start realizing that growth isn't mysterious. It's a matter of habits, discipline, and environment. At first, it might feel uncomfortable being around people who are more successful or more disciplined than you. That's a good thing. That discomfort is your signal that you're in the right place. Growth doesn't happen in comfort zones. You need people who make you feel slightly behind. Not to discourage you, but to push you. Being the least experienced person in a strong group is far better than being the most driven person in a weak one. You learn faster, grow faster, and stay humble enough to keep improving. Surrounding yourself with driven people doesn't just help you grow, it also protects your energy. Negative people drain your focus with doubts and fears. They might not mean harm, but their lack of vision limits yours. Driven people, on the other hand, remind you that setbacks are normal and persistence is non-negotiable. They inspire you to keep going when motivation fades. Their consistency becomes your reminder that results take time, but always arrive for those who stay committed. Be intentional about where you spend your time. Join communities, events, or online groups filled with people who share your goals and values. Volunteer for projects that challenge you. Take part in discussions that stretch your thinking. Surrounding yourself with driven people doesn't always mean you have to know them personally. Books, podcasts, and mentors from a distance can also shape your mindset. The key is to stay connected to energy that feeds your ambition, not kills it. Support in the right circle goes both ways. It's not just about taking inspiration, it's about contributing value. Driven people respect effort and consistency, not empty talk. Be someone who shows up, follows through, and adds something meaningful to the group. When you bring your best self to the table, others notice. You start earning trust and respect, which opens new doors for growth. Being part of a motivated circle means everyone wins together. As your circle improves, you'll start seeing change in yourself too. You'll become more disciplined with your time, more selective with your energy, and more focused on progress. You'll start to outgrow certain habits, and some people may not understand that. They might say you've changed, and they'll be right. You're evolving into someone with higher standards and deeper purpose. That's not arrogance, that's growth. Transformation always requires letting go of comfort zones, including familiar but unhelpful relationships. Driven people won't allow you to settle. They'll remind you that your goals don't care about your excuses. They'll call you out when you start slipping. They'll challenge you to keep moving, even when things get uncomfortable. But they'll also support you when times are hard. That's what makes a strong circle powerful. It pushes you without breaking you. When everyone is striving toward excellence, accountability becomes a form of encouragement, not criticism. You'll also learn that driven people think long-term. They don't look for quick wins, they're building something lasting. Being around them helps you adopt the same mindset. You stop chasing instant gratification and start valuing consistency. You start to understand that small daily actions matter more than big, occasional bursts of effort. Your patience grows and your work becomes more intentional. Over time, that steady commitment builds confidence and inner strength that no external motivation can replace. Sometimes you'll find yourself growing faster than those you once spent time with. That's normal. It's not about thinking you're better. It's about realizing your focus has changed. When you prioritize progress, your priorities shift naturally. You'll attract people who match your new level of discipline and mindset. This doesn't mean you abandon old friends, but you do need to limit how much influence they have over your decisions. You can love people without letting their habits shape your future. When you look at any high achiever, you'll notice they rarely do it alone. Behind every success story is a network of support, accountability, and shared vision. Great people don't isolate themselves. They collaborate, learn, and grow together. When you surround yourself with driven people, you're building that same network for your own transformation. You're creating an environment that supports progress instead of holding it back. 6 months in the right environment can do more for your growth than years in the wrong one. The energy of driven people becomes the wind behind your goals. They remind you what's possible, even on days when you doubt yourself. Their discipline keeps you steady, their example keeps you humble, and their success keeps you hungry. You stop settling for potential and start living it. Eventually, you'll become the driven person that others want to be around. Your habits, your mindset, and your discipline will inspire people who are just starting their own journey. That's the beauty of growth. It's contagious. When you rise, you lift others with you. Your circle becomes stronger, and the cycle of motivation continues. You'll realize that transformation is not just about personal success. It's about creating an environment where everyone around you grows too. Surrounding yourself with driven people is one of the most powerful choices you can make for your transformation. It shapes your mindset, fuels your motivation, and keeps you accountable. When you're surrounded by those who refuse to quit, you learn to do the same. 6 months from now, you'll look back and see how much your circle shaped your growth. You'll realize that greatness doesn't happen alone. It happens in the company of those who push you to become your best every single day. Number 9. Stay disciplined, not just motivated. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes like a wave, strong for a moment and gone the next. Most people rely on motivation to achieve their goals, thinking that inspiration alone can carry them through weeks, months, or years of effort. That's a dangerous misconception. Motivation is unpredictable and unreliable. You cannot schedule it, you cannot demand it, and you cannot control when it will appear. Transformation is not about feeling inspired in the moment. It's about committing to action regardless of how you feel. Discipline is the bridge between where you are now and the life you want to build. Discipline is what separates those who achieve lasting results from those who only dream. It's the ability to show up every day, to act consistently, and to follow through even when energy, enthusiasm, or willpower falters. While motivation sparks action, discipline sustains it. Motivation is like a spark. Discipline is the fire that burns continuously. You can't rely on a spark to cook your meals, move your career forward, or shape your habits. You need steady fuel, and that fuel is discipline. The first step toward developing discipline is to create clear routines. Routines remove decision fatigue. When actions become habitual, you don't need to negotiate with yourself every day. Decide on non-negotiable practices: wake-up time, work blocks, exercise, reading, reflection, and commit to them daily. Discipline thrives in structure. Without it, even the most motivated person will drift into procrastination, distraction, or inconsistency. Repetition builds strength. Consistent action builds character. Motivation feels good because it's emotional. It gives a temporary high and a sense of possibility. Discipline, on the other hand, often feels uncomfortable at first. It asks you to push past resistance, to work when your body or mind wants to rest, to act when feelings are weak or conflicted. That discomfort is not a warning sign. It's proof that you are strengthening your will. Every time you act in spite of resistance, you're training yourself to rely on something more permanent than fleeting emotion. Accountability enhances discipline. When you make commitments to yourself and others, the weight of responsibility encourages follow-through. It's one thing to feel motivated internally, but discipline is reinforced when you know others are watching, relying on you, or benefiting from your actions. This external accountability works hand in hand with internal commitment to create consistency. Each week, review whether you honored your promises and adjust accordingly. The key is to see discipline as a practice, not a one-time choice. Self-awareness is critical for sustaining discipline. Understand your patterns, triggers, and weaknesses. Identify the times when your motivation tends to wane or when you are most likely to procrastinate. Use this awareness to create supportive habits and buffers. For example, if you know mornings are your strongest time, tackle your hardest tasks. Then, if evenings are weak, automate or delegate what you can. Discipline is not about forcing yourself blindly. It's about designing your actions so that consistency is inevitable. Discipline also requires resisting short-term gratification in favor of long-term benefit. The body and mind are wired to seek comfort, but transformation demands choice over impulse. Every small act of self-control, skipping a sugary snack, finishing a task before checking your phone, going to bed early, strengthens the muscle of discipline. Over time, these seemingly minor victories compound into significant results. Motivation may fade after a snack, a nap, or a break, but disciplined action continues to produce results. Tracking your progress reinforces discipline. When you record your actions, habits, and results, you see the impact of consistent effort. Discipline grows from measurable achievements. Motivation alone doesn't create accountability or evidence. It disappears when excitement wanes. But discipline produces data you can trust. It allows you to see your improvements and identify gaps, giving you actionable feedback to refine your approach. When you measure what you do consistently, discipline becomes easier to maintain because you witness its effect. Discipline demands preparation. Relying on motivation alone is like waiting for a storm to carry you forward. Preparation, on the other hand, creates conditions where discipline can flourish. Prepare your environment, schedule your day, and remove unnecessary distractions. When the path is clear and OSAS minimized, it's easier to act consistently. Discipline is amplified by planning. It doesn't have to feel like constant struggle when you lay the groundwork in advance. Mental resilience is intertwined with discipline. You will face setbacks, delays, and failures. Motivation will often falter when progress stalls, but discipline keeps you moving. It's not about feeling unstoppable. It's about refusing to give in to discouragement. Discipline builds toughness. Each time you persist, despite difficulties, your capacity to handle future challenges grows. Motivation comes and goes, but disciplined resilience compounds over time. Rewarding yourself strategically can strengthen discipline without feeding dependency on motivation. Small rewards for consistent effort reinforce positive behavior while maintaining focus on long-term goals. Discipline is not about punishment, it's about conditioning your actions in ways that produce sustainable growth. Celebrating small victories encourages continued effort while keeping your mind oriented toward purpose, not fleeting desire. Self-discipline also requires managing energy, not just effort. Motivation often fails when energy is low. Ensuring proper sleep, nutrition, hydration, and movement provides the foundation to act consistently. Discipline without energy becomes mechanical and brittle, while disciplined energy allows sustainable action even under strain. You cannot separate physical readiness from mental persistence. Both are essential to maintaining momentum over 6 months or longer. When motivation fades, and it always will, you must rely on principles instead of feelings. Discipline is built on clear principles: commitment, responsibility, consistency, and focus. These principles guide action even when emotional highs or lows shift unpredictably. By anchoring yourself in principle rather than emotion, you no longer need to wait for motivation to strike. Discipline allows you to move forward regardless of mood or circumstance. Discipline is also about saying no consistently. It's about making deliberate choices to avoid distractions, unhealthy habits, or anything that derails your long-term goals. Motivation may tempt you to indulge in temporary pleasure or ignore discomfort, but discipline requires prioritization. Each refusal to compromise on your standards strengthens your ability to stay the course, building confidence in your capacity to control your own outcomes. Patience is a hidden component of discipline. Results rarely appear overnight, and motivation alone cannot carry you through periods of slow progress. Discipline teaches you to persist even when the payoff is delayed. Every action you take compounds quietly over time. 6 months of disciplined effort produces far more change than 6 weeks of motivated burst. Understanding this timeline prevents frustration and keeps you focused on consistent action rather than fleeting excitement. Discipline becomes easier when you create rituals. Rituals automate behavior and remove reliance on daily motivation. Morning routines, work sprints, planning sessions, and end-of-day reflections establish predictable patterns. Once embedded, these routines operate almost independently of mood. You act because the structure exists, not because you feel motivated in that moment. Rituals transform discipline from a battle of willpower into a natural cadence of life. Consistency is the ultimate reward of discipline. Motivation may push you to act once or twice, but it cannot sustain a pattern. Discipline produces results that are visible, measurable, and repeatable. It turns effort into habit, and habit into transformation. 6 months of disciplined practice rewires your brain, trains your body, and reshapes your life. The results are undeniable because they are built on steady action, not fleeting emotion. Discipline and motivation are not enemies, but they are not equal. Motivation is a spark, discipline is the engine. You cannot rely on sparks alone to drive 6 months of transformation. Discipline ensures that you continue moving, building, and improving even when excitement fades. It turns vision into reality because it doesn't depend on chance, it depends on choice. Staying disciplined requires vigilance, reflection, and commitment. Track your actions, honor your routines, prioritize energy, and resist temptation. Discipline becomes a form of identity. You are someone who acts consistently regardless of feeling. Motivation is useful when present, but it is not essential. What truly changes your life is the ability to keep going when motivation disappears, when resistance rises, and when comfort calls. 6 months of disciplined effort will transform you more than any burst of motivation ever could. You will discover strength you didn't know existed, focus you didn't believe possible, and results that feel inevitable because of consistent action. Motivation may inspire you to begin, but discipline is what ensures you finish, grow, and thrive. The life you want is not built on fleeting feelings. It is built on unwavering commitment to act, day after day, until transformation becomes your reality. Number 10. Reflect, adjust, and keep growing. Growth is not a straight line. Progress is rarely perfect, and transformation never happens without reflection. To truly change your life over 6 months, it's essential to pause regularly and examine what's working, what's not, and what needs adjustment. Reflection is not a sign of weakness or hesitation. It is the foundation of intelligent action. It allows you to see the patterns of your habits, understand the consequences of your decisions, and recognize the opportunities to improve. Without reflection, effort can easily become wasted energy, repeating mistakes without awareness. Reflection begins with honest observation. You must look at your actions, results, and feelings without judgment or excuse. Ask yourself questions that dig beneath the surface. Did I follow through on my commitments this week? Which actions moved me closer to my goals, and which drained my time and energy? Where did I falter, and why? Honest answers reveal the truths that motivation alone can never show. This level of clarity is necessary to make meaningful adjustments that accelerate progress. Adjustment is the natural next step after reflection. Once you see where you're succeeding and where you're struggling, you have the opportunity to course correct. This doesn't mean abandoning your goals, it means refining your approach. If a habit isn't producing results, tweak it. If your schedule leaves you exhausted, reorganize it. If a strategy feels ineffective, explore alternatives. Adaptability is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of wisdom. Growth is built on small, consistent improvements rather than rigid adherence to a single plan. Reflecting and adjusting also teaches resilience. Transformation is never smooth. There will be setbacks, distractions, and periods when progress seems slow or invisible. Reflection allows you to see these obstacles as data, not failures. It gives perspective. By understanding why something didn't work, you reduce the likelihood of repeating the same mistake. You start to approach challenges with curiosity instead of frustration, learning to see each obstacle as a stepping stone rather than a roadblock. Reflection should be a regular practice, not a sporadic one. Set aside time weekly to review your actions, your results, and your mindset. Record your observations in a journal or planner. Writing down your thoughts solidifies understanding and allows patterns to emerge over time. When you look back over weeks or months, you'll see trends that were invisible day to day. These insights are invaluable. They show you not just where you are, but how far you've come and what adjustments will propel you forward. Keep growing by turning insights into action. Reflection alone does not create transformation. Adjustment without action is ineffective. Each discovery you make should be immediately applied to the next day, week, or task. Growth requires implementation. For example, if you notice that mornings are wasted due to lack of structure, design a routine that maximizes your early hours. If you realize a habit drains your energy rather than fuels it, replace it with a more productive alternative. Reflection only matters when it leads to deliberate, tangible changes. Reflection also strengthens self-awareness. You begin to notice patterns in your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. You learn what triggers procrastination, what motivates you, and what environments support your success. This self-knowledge allows you to make smarter choices proactively rather than reacting to circumstances. The more you understand yourself, the more effectively you can shape your actions and mindset to align with your goals. Keep growing by embracing curiosity. Transformation requires the willingness to question yourself and your approach constantly. Ask, what can I learn from this experience? How can I do better next time? Where can I push harder? And where do I need rest? Curiosity prevents stagnation. It encourages experimentation and refinement. Growth is never static. It's a dynamic process that responds to observation, insight, and action. Those who stop questioning stop improving. Reflection also clarifies priorities. Over time, it becomes apparent which actions yield the most impact and which waste energy. By identifying your high-leverage activities, you can focus your effort where it matters most. Time is finite, and energy is precious. Regular reflection allows you to invest both wisely, ensuring that every step you take moves you closer to your transformation rather than leaving you spinning in circles. Adjustment fosters creativity. When you notice a habit or approach isn't working, you're forced to invent new strategies. This problem-solving develops flexibility and mental agility. Growth is rarely about following someone else's path exactly. It's about discovering what works for you and adapting intelligently. Each adjustment, no matter how small, trains your mind to think strategically, creatively, and independently. Over 6 months, these incremental changes compound into significant transformation. Reflection also builds humility. Recognizing mistakes, gaps, and limitations allows you to confront reality honestly. Humility doesn't mean self-doubt. It means seeing things as they are and responding appropriately. Growth comes from acknowledging where you are and committing to becoming better. It prevents complacency and ensures that each day is an opportunity to refine your approach and elevate your performance. Keep growing by integrating feedback from multiple sources. Reflection doesn't only involve looking inward, it can involve insights from mentors, peers, or results from experiments in your life. External feedback provides perspective that internal observation alone might miss. Use it wisely. Listen actively. Apply lessons selectively. This combination of self-reflection and external input accelerates learning and enhances the effectiveness of your adjustments. Consistency is key. Reflection, adjustment, and growth must be repeated relentlessly. One session of reflection or a single adjustment is not enough to produce lasting change. The 6-month transformation you're pursuing requires disciplined cycles of observing, refining, and acting repeatedly. Over time, this cycle builds momentum. Small insights accumulate, small adjustments compound, and your life begins to shift in profound ways. Reflection also strengthens emotional intelligence. As you evaluate your actions and reactions, you become more aware of your emotional patterns. You notice when stress, fear, or impatience drives your choices. By understanding these forces, you can respond with intention rather than react impulsively. Emotional regulation becomes easier, and your actions are aligned with purpose rather than temporary feelings. This alignment is essential for long-term transformation. Keep growing by celebrating incremental progress. Reflection allows you to see improvements that might otherwise go unnoticed. Even small changes matter. They signal that your effort is effective and that your trajectory is upward. Recognizing growth keeps morale high and fuels continued effort. Celebration is not about complacency, it's about acknowledging that consistent, deliberate action produces results, reinforcing the cycle of progress. Adjustment requires courage. It's not always comfortable to admit that a strategy, habit, or approach isn't working. Yet courage is necessary for evolution. You must be willing to pivot, try new methods, and challenge old assumptions. Growth demands action based on insight, not stubbornness or pride. Each courageous adjustment builds confidence, resilience, and skill, reinforcing the belief that you can navigate challenges and continue improving. Reflection also teaches patience. Transformation doesn't happen overnight, and results may lag behind effort. By reflecting regularly, you maintain perspective and trust in the process. Small, consistent actions compound over time. And even when immediate outcomes aren't visible, the accumulation of effort is undeniable. Patience ensures that you don't abandon progress prematurely and that your 6-month plan remains intact. Keep growing by documenting lessons learned. Journaling or recording observations allows you to revisit insights, notice trends, and reinforce progress. Written reflections create a tangible record of your evolution. 6 months from now, you can look back and see the transformation in black and white, the struggles, the adjustments, and the victories that built your growth. This evidence reinforces confidence and clarifies the next steps in your journey. Reflection, adjustment, and growth form a cycle that sustains long-term success. Reflection uncovers reality, adjustment corrects course, and growth transforms action into results. This cycle becomes more intuitive. With practice, over time, you internalize the process and apply it naturally, moving through challenges with awareness and responding with deliberate strategies rather than guesswork. Transformation becomes an ongoing, self-sustaining process rather than a temporary burst of effort. By consistently reflecting, making adjustments, and committing to growth, you ensure that no effort is wasted and no opportunity is missed. Your 6-month transformation will be grounded in intelligent action, strategic refinement, and continuous evolution. Each day becomes a chance to improve, each week a measure of progress, and each adjustment a step toward your best self. The journey never truly ends, because growth is limitless, but within 6 months, you will see yourself far beyond the person who started. Reflection turns experience into wisdom, adjustment turns insight into action, and growth turns action into transformation. When you embrace this cycle fully, life becomes deliberate, purposeful, and rewarding. You move forward with clarity, confidence, and resilience. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is random. Every day builds upon the last, creating a path of continuous improvement that carries you steadily toward the life you've committed to achieving. The power of reflection, adjustment, and growth lies in its simplicity and consistency. By observing honestly, changing intelligently, and acting relentlessly, you ensure that your 6-month plan is more than a goal. It becomes a reality. Transformation is not accidental. It is deliberate. Through this cycle, you cultivate awareness, strengthen your habits, and continuously elevate yourself. Each week, each action, and each insight compounds, creating a life shaped by wisdom, effort, and conscious evolution.